Hi, I'm going to talk to you, hopefully really quick, about the two remedies that I recommended to have on hand at all times if possible for when you are coming down with something. Could be you, could be your kids, any age, starting at little babies. Could be your elderly grandma that you're helping out. These are safe at the acute potency, which I'll talk about later, for all ages, pregnant, breastfeeding, anyone. And they will help you recover faster and just shorten the time that you're sick. And so just a little tip first. When you're using homeopathy, you want to look for odd or unique symptoms that go along with your sickness. So, for example, when my husband is sick, he'll come to me, or he's gotten better now. He used to come to me and say, I have a cold, what should I take? And that's not that's not enough. We need more than that. And so if you've read my blogs, you'll have picked up probably that there are some like pretty specific things that I mention. And so look for those specific things or those unique things or those things that are out of the ordinary for you at that time. And they'll help you find the remedy that you need at that time. And so the first remedy is Aconitum napellus or aconite. And it's for illnesses that come on fast. So usually in the middle of the night too, very suddenly. So maybe you or whoever went to bed perfectly fine, and then you wake up in the middle of the night sick. It's a really important remedy for croup. I'll talk about that at the end. So important thing is sudden. You felt fine, and then all of a sudden you feel like garbage. And another point is maybe maybe like yesterday, so your illness comes on in the middle of the night, maybe the day before you were out in the wet, cold weather. You might feel anxious or fearful or restless along with your symptoms. You might be overly thirsty, and you might feel better, or your symptoms might improve a bit when you go outside, even though it might make you a little bit chilled. And so as an example, maybe you're getting a cold and you have a runny nose that is really dripping a lot inside, and then you go outside and it stops. That's a little hint that maybe you would need aconite. And so this is a remedy that you want to take within the first 24 hours. It's a first line of defense type of remedy, and it doesn't have much action after that initial 24 hours. And then after that time is up, if you still feel like you need a remedy, you would need to just flow with the symptoms and find what other remedy that you need. And so the second remedy that I recommend would be Ferrum Phosphoricum or Ferrum Phos, and it's for illnesses that start slow. So that is the keynote or the key thing to look for, very slow. So, and symptoms are very mild. You might be feeling off, but you can't really pinpoint anything special. Like I said, look for weird, peculiar symptoms. That's kind of it for Ferrum Phos. There's not much going on, but you don't feel good, and you know that. You might have a low-grade fever. You might have a headache on the right side of your head. You might have flushed cheeks. And this remedy, you might use it only at the beginning like aconite, but there's no 24-hour time limit. You might use it the whole time. I'll talk about this one again at the end. And so that's it. This is just an overview for these two remedies that you can use at the beginning of any illness. But then if you have a specific thing that you're looking for, like I have these remedies for cold, flu, cough, and more coming up on my blog. So you can just go on the blog and in the search bar, search for these remedies or for something specific, and it will help you with that. So I'll talk about the strengths a little bit too. So you'll see on the tubes, these two, here they are, Ferrum Phos and Aconite. These two have 30 CH on the tubes. This is a common strength or potency, as homeopaths call it. This is a common one to find. Another one that I always have is the 6X, you'll see there. This is called a cell salt. And other common potencies that you'll find, which would be for acute prescribers or home prescribers like yourselves, are the 12, so that would be a 12 or a 15. And I don't recommend, if you're not under the care of your own homeopath, I don't recommend using over 30 at home, because in homeopathy we want to take the lowest potency or strength for the least amount of time, and the higher potencies it's just best to work with someone who is experienced. A homeopath is best, or someone who knows more about the higher numbers. So for yourself, stick to 30 or lower. And I, if I have chosen Ferrum Phos as the remedy that I or someone else needs, I like to start with the cell salt. I start low, and then if that's not quite working, then I move up. So I'll start with the cell salt, and then I would work, and then I would, these are the two that I have right now. So if that wasn't quite working, then I would switch up to the 30, and then take that for however long that I need it. And for how to take them, how often to take them, I have a little flow chart on one of my blogs, so you can head to the blog. Just touch on cell salts quickly. So a cell salt, there's 12 of them. They're homeopathically prepared minerals, and they stimulate cell metabolism and help the body to absorb nutrients and strengthen and nourish at a cellular level. And so I kind of like to think of them as homeopathic vitamins. Sometimes they're just a little push that the body needs to get back on track. And the nice thing about cell salts is that they're not the same as homeopathic remedies. They are prepared homeopathically, but they're not the same. So in homeopathy, you don't take, like you wouldn't take Ferrum Phos and Aconite because you weren't sure what to do, so you take both. That's not what you do. You don't do that. You choose one remedy that fits all of your symptoms and you stick with it, and if it's not working, then you change. But with cell salts, because they're a little bit different, you can take them with remedies. So let's say I decided the remedy I needed was Aconite. And so according to the flow chart that I referenced, you would take it. But then you could take the Ferrum Phos, to further support your body. Not at the same time as you would take the Aconite, but maybe spaced out by an hour or so, and just a couple times a day. It would just help your body more. If you only have the Aconite, do that. But if you also have cell salts, they're really helpful in helping the body to stay healthy, but then if you get ill, to help your body through the illness. And so I'll give you an example. So for Aconite, Jake, my oldest, when he was young, he used to get croup. And so he would go to bed perfectly fine. And then if you dealt with croup before, you know there's that very obvious cough. So he would wake me up in the middle of the night with that croupy cough. And then so I would go and get him, take him to an open window, which is a keynote of Aconite, better for fresh air, open air. And I would give him a dose of this. Everything would settle down. He would go back to bed. So the Aconite was very helpful with his croup. And another example with Jake, again, just off the top of my head, was the Ferrum Phos cell salt. So a couple weeks ago, he was, we were away. One of the days, you could just tell he wasn't feeling well. He kept going back to bed. He wasn't really eating. He's not really a complainer when he's sick, but you could just tell his energy wasn't there. So but nothing stood out, and it wasn't sudden, it was just very mild. And so I did the Ferrum Phos cell salt probably every couple hours that he was awake that first day. And then the next day, he was pretty much back to normal. Every time I saw a little dip in his energy, I gave this again, maybe 3 times the second day, and then that was it. Everything was good. And so I hope that was helpful. Those are just 2 remedies that I always have on hand. I recommend everyone to pick them up, and I hope you try them.